Men today aren't lost. They're starving. Starving for meaning, purpose, direction, leadership, and no one's feeding them anything real. Yes, we're drowning in self-help tools, in dopamine hacks, and in Be the Best Man podcasts. And yet, we all know that these things don't actually help us to rebuild a life from the ground up. And I know. I've been through 17 years of addictions, traumas, psychosis, and spiritual extremes. So, I'm here today to talk about why this generation of men is collapsing and how we can actually rebuild and rise triumphantly again. Men aren't purposeless, they're purpose starved. We've grown up in a world which teaches us be successful, be productive, be impressive, don't feel too much, don't think too much, don't break down, and definitely don't talk about it. So we've all chased what looks like purpose, the hustle, the aesthetic, the achievement, and yet we end up in a place where we feel spiritually hollow, emotionally distant, fragile, and disconnected from ourselves and from others. I know this because I lived inside a private school system which is designed to churn out high achievers. And what was the result? Well, on paper, I had it all. Structure, opportunity, networks, privilege. And yet inside, what I was dealing with below the surface was feeling numb, feeling anxious, feeling spiritually empty and bankrupt. Purpose wasn't something I was living or breathing. It was something that I pretended. And it became incredibly poisonous and caused so much damage to my mind, my body, my heart, and everything else around me. Let's be honest, a man which has no purpose is dangerous. He is not only dangerous to others, but fundamentally dangerous to himself. That is when the addictions start. That is when the disassociations happen. That is when the mind fractures. That is when the body collapses. And that's when he begins his descent deep down into the labyrinth, into the belly of the whale, and into the underworld. In my case, it was weed, panic attacks, traumas, psychosis, and spiritual extremes. A kind of chaos that I wouldn't wish onto anyone. But underneath it all, there was a truth which I refused to see. I was starving for purpose, and I was trying to fill that hole, that void, with anything I thought would bring purpose into my life. Addiction became the fake purpose. Spiritual madness became the fake purpose. Travel became the fake purpose. Even healing and doing events and retreats became the fake purpose, because none of these things were actually grounded in a sense of fullness and completeness and alignment. They came from a place of emptiness, a place of pretending. And it just highlights that purpose is not an activity. It's a backbone. It's a groundedness. And when it's missing, everything naturally collapses. Men today face 3 challenges that no other generation has faced before us. Number 1, infinite distraction. We are overstimulated. We are under-anchored, and we are emotionally underdeveloped. It's as if this environment is designed to extract our purpose and keep us on the hamster wheel. Number 2, fatherlessness and leaderlessness. Even when there are fathers and leaders present, most of them in this day and age do not have the tools to regulate, do not have the wide perspective. They themselves haven't been taught with grace and elegance and boundaries and inner structure, and so naturally they're incapable of passing that on to us. Number 3, there are no rites of passage. This one is huge. Historically, men became men through initiations, ordeals, challenges, risk-taking, and responsibility. My initiations were completely unplanned and brutal. Traumas and psychosis and prison and spiritual rupture. They nearly broke me because there were hardly any elders present, there was hardly any guidance present, and there wasn't a container there which understood and supported and had a roadmap and milestones to support and facilitate what I was going through. And so men today, well, they go through breakdowns rather than initiations. Our whole society, our whole way of digesting information, everything is built around rituals of collapse instead of the ancient and tried and tested rituals of transformation. And we can't become men by accident. We need to become men through adversity, through challenge, through hardship. And not only those things, because those things in and of themselves create trauma and disassociation and all the other things spoken about. It's when those things are witnessed, it's when those things are integrated, and it's when those things are held by the community that we can really become strong, integrated, grounded men with a backbone of purpose. So I need purpose, you need purpose, we need purpose. So what actually feeds purpose? Well, it's clear purpose isn't something which we just go out and find. Purpose is something which is built brick by brick, something which is forged in the fire. And there are 3 pillars of purpose which we can hold on to along the way. Number 1 is responsibility. When we begin to carry something which is bigger than ourselves, which supports more than just ourselves, which feeds many more mouths than just ourselves, we begin to embody and align with purpose. Number 2, devotion. When we really show up and do our duty, when we put one foot in front of the other, when we do our hustle, but we don't take the time to come back to ourselves, to make time for the sacred, to pray to God, we're not incorporating devotion into our lives. And it's that very devotion which helps us to keep going when times are tough, which helps us to step beyond ourselves and helps us to be humble and anchored in needing something more, needing a higher power to really facilitate our transition through this world. Number 3, integrity. When we begin to show up not as our wounded self and perpetuate that identity, but as our future self, as the man we're becoming, as the man we see ourselves, as the man we deep down know that we are. Our purpose begins to be woven into the very fabric of our backbone. When we stop negotiating with those small, limiting identities of ours and begin to take the leap, the transition into everything we know is possible, everything deep down we know we came to this planet to do, to work on, to bring about, that is when we start to walk into and align with our purpose. If you felt lost, if you feel lost, please hear this. You are not broken. You're just underfed. All of our souls are striving for direction, structure, fire, discipline, meaning, and devotion. Not just dopamine and distraction. If you've been stuck in a dopamine addiction loop, a dopamine addiction cycle, and you feel anxious and depressed and hungry for something more and greater, you're not weak. You're just waking up. And my whole channel exists for you. It exists for people like us, because I'm not here to lecture you. I'm not here to hype you up. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to walk beside you. I'm here because I've lived the collapse and I'm rebuilding from absolute zero. I'm rebuilding from complete devastation. And it's not like at some point in the future we are gonna reach a place where we've reached the top of the mountain of purpose. We've reached the final destination. No way. This is something which is unfolding, a constant work in progress, a practice, a diet, which we're both committing to because we know the benefit of clean eating. We know the benefit of eating healthy foods and what that does to our bodies, our minds, and our relationships. If this landed, if, like me, you're starving for this purpose-rich diet, you'll want to watch the next videos in this series, because I'm breaking down the real foundations of becoming grounded and purpose-driven in this generation. I'm not showing you fake hustle. I'm not showing you hype culture. And I'm not talking to you about something that I myself am not deeply and utterly connected to and practicing and living. I'm here to show and express and share in real healing and real grounded masculinity. So let's rebuild properly together. Let's rebuild in a way that our future selves are crying out for. Let's rebuild in a way that society is crying out for. And let's rebuild in a way that all of those that come after us, our kids and their kids and their kids, are so grateful that we did this work and we opened up this kind of purposeful, backboned existence